Hi everyone, welcome to my little Southern California garden. Today I want to share with you my experience pollinating soursop. Also share with you the best time to pollinate and selecting the right flowers to pollinate. I was able to pollinate over 30 plus fruit, but because of the dry and cold weather this year, most of the branches dry and die off during the winter and spring, and I'm left with just 13 fruits. These fruit was pollinated between August through November of last year. After pollinations, the fruit did grow a little and hang on through fall, winter with not much changes. Not until late spring that it began to start growing somewhat. It started to grow very quickly in the last few weeks since the weather is in the mid to high 70 in my area. Last year was the first year out of 8 years that my tree produced lots and lots of flowers. After the first month of hand pollinations, I noticed that around 7 p.m., the mature flowers start to shed its petals and pollen. These flowers are completely yellow. I started to collect the pollen at this time in a clean container by tapping or flicking on the flowers. You can store the pollen in the refrigerators for the next day use. At that same time, I also noticed that the flowers that is ready to be pollinated has a wet, sticky layer covering its stigma. These flowers are yellow with very little green left. From then on, I only pollinate in the evening between 7 and 9 p.m. I usually look and mentally mark the flowers that I can collect pollen from and which one I can pollinate in the daytime, so when I come out to pollinate and collect the pollens at nighttime, I have an idea where the flowers are. With a headlight on, it was very easy to see where the flowers are, and it helped to see that the wet layers on the stigma of the flowers that you want to pollinate. You can pollinate early morning too, but what I noticed is that the wetness on the stigma is lessened or there is none at all. To pollinate, you want to load your brush with the pollen collected and slightly do a 360 swirl on the stigma. Do this 2 or 3 times. Since my tree had lots of flowers, I used the pollen I collected the same night to pollinate. To keep the pollen on the brush fresh, use a napkin to wrap your brush up tightly and wrap it with a rubber band. Store the brush in a Ziploc bag and place it in the refrigerator. I use the same brush without cleaning it the whole season. If you're saving your pollen in a container, make sure to store it in the refrigerators. If your pollination was not successful, the fruit will dry and fall off in the first month or 2. After 2 months of pollinations, you will see the fruit start to crack and grow little spikes. This is when you know that your pollination is successful. Depending on your weather, it may stay at that stage for months before growing. My first fruit did not start growing until this March, and the rest just started to grow in the last few weeks. I hope this video will help you have many soursop.